Hey, chirpers! Hello, welcome. In this video, we're going to actually look into the actual live version of a Twitter chat. And we're going to jump into one. I'm going to show you how to find it. I'm going to show a few of the tools. We'll get into more of how to use the tools in later chapters in Chapter 7 with the management tools. And you'll have videos for each one of those and how to use them. But this one will give you a great overview of how to find a Twitter chat, how to participate, some of the things that kind of jump up in there, and we'll look into some of the tools as well. So fantastic. First thing you want to do is you want to make sure you jump into Twitter. Your Twitter account, and that's the very basic way of participating in the chat. Later on, when you get a little bit more comfortable and you get comfortable with the tools, you'll probably want to use those, but you'll have to gauge really where you feel the most comfortable and what environment you feel the most comfortable using and participating in the chat. So that's really going to be up to you and your preference. So go ahead, log into Twitter. You also are going to want to find a chat that you want to participate in. So there are a few recommendations that we have in the chapter. You can jump into those websites and look into them. So make sure to check that out in the book. And once you do find it and you know what the hashtag is, then you want to jump up here in the search, and we want to type in, for this one, we're going to do, there's one that I love, it's called Lead with Giants, and it's about leadership and happens every Monday night at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are a little late. We're about half an hour late, so I'm going to kind of speed you up into all this and how it works. But when you first enter in the hashtag, what you'll see is that the results come up, and you'll have top results, and then you have all results. And so you'll see some of the people who are participating in there will have some of the top results, and the people in there. Dan Forbes is the actual leader and monitor for Lead with Giants, and so that's where he is, and they have their own handle, and so you could also follow them if you want to. Not all chats have it, but most of them do. And I always like to follow the person behind it. It's good for me. Plus, if you interact with him quite a bit, which I do, and I find his content is very well worth following, and I love to hear what he has to say. So shout outs to Big Dan Forbes. All right, so let's jump into the second section here, all. And what we'll see here is that we're going to look down the list, and you'll see these people with A5. And A5 means that they're answering answer 5. And so what we can do here is scroll down. A lot of times what you'll see with these chats, I mean, it's halfway through and they already got to 5 questions. So that means they're moving pretty quickly. What you'll see is you'll see people with the Q5, which means that they're still getting used to, they don't really understand the etiquette, because typically if you're answering it, this is not a question. This is an answer, but usually when they're answering it, you put A in front of it. You want to look for Dan or Lead with Giants here. Even Dan, the person who's monitoring the actual chat, will answer their own questions, but we want to scroll down. He's still answering them. We can scroll. It's up to you if you want to scroll like this. Here we see Lead with Giants. How does technology, texting, social media affect EI? So I'm not really sure what EI means in its lingo. So what I would do and suggest here is that you start looking through some of the answers to kind of get a better grips on what that means. So say please, thank you, good morning, and smile to start EI improvement. Oh, I know what EI is, emotional intelligence. So how does technology, texting, social media affect EI? Well, that's actually a good question. And if you have an idea or if you have something to add to that, you can chime in. Remember to look up. Face-to-face cannot be replaced. And so we can see here, if we jump into it, they obviously skipped on to, or they've already gone on to question 6, which represents high EI, cats, dogs, or some other animal. Why? So I would say that's actually another good question here. So the topic must be emotional intelligence, and that's what I would guess. And if you want to see what the other answers are going on here, we're gonna go ahead and just jump into here, and we can see how can you improve your EI tools, apps, etc. So exactly, the topic for tonight is emotional intelligence, and what you can see is something back, right? This is the beginning. What they do is questions are numbered. They give you a rundown of how things are going to run. They tell you don't forget to add the hashtag Lewin Giants. Please, I need some of you to retweet the questions as they are asked. So they ask you for here, and then they right off the bat ask you what emotional intelligence is. So this is good. I actually like this topic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to answer question 6 here. And what you would want to do in this circumstance is not necessarily reply, but you would just hit the tweet box up here, and you can move this down, and then you just enter in answer 6, and you put in, so the question was, which represents high EI, cats, dogs, or some other animals? I would say cats and dogs both, and so I'm going to write my response in there. I'm not going to say it all out loud. Cats and dogs both. So once you answer that, you put in your answer, and then you put in Lewin Giants. This happens quite a bit, and this is actually a great learning experience right here for everybody, is that you might write out your answer to the question, and because you only have 140 characters, and on top of that you have to include the answer number in the front, and then you also have to add the hashtag, and in this case Lewin Giants is a little bit of a long hashtag for a chat. So what you have to do is get creative. And certain ways you can get creative is that instead of putting "and" as the word, you put the sign. You can also, instead of putting "with" the whole word, you just put W// like this. And then you might just want to look at your actual answer and see how you can reduce it down by saying the same thing just in a smaller sentence or a smaller series of sentences. So cats, dogs both have high IE. Especially with their owners. I think dogs have the most. They sense, they know something when something is not right. All right. They know. So there we go. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. So here we go. We're going to go. Cats and dogs both have high IE, especially with their owners. So we're going to sit here. And what we're going to do is, so far, there has not been a lot. There has not been another question, at least that I can see as of right now, but we're gonna jump back in here into the hashtag and look. So another thing you want to do here is someone answered dogs. You might want to jump in here and favorite if you agree with that. Seeing this, blah blah blah. People add questions in there or remarks. Who knew? He's got a great taste. Dogs understand how a person is feeling. They love them or run away to the corner. So that's another good one. See, so someone jumped in and has no idea, and in this circumstance, you might, if you're a participating member of this chat, you might want to chime in and say something to Sean, like "Welcome." Is all about topics relating to leadership. Today is about EI, or emotional intelligence. and then you want to make sure you end again with the hashtag. So there we go. And what we'll probably see here is that we'll get a response from Sean. We can see that some people so you probably, all right, so I made a little bit of a mistake here, not a big one, but typically what you would want to do, someone says like that, you want to check in before you answer that, which clearly I got too excited, but I wanted to show you guys what to do about this. So what he did is, or what other people were answering, I basically answered the same thing. Don't really want to repeat or be repetitive. If you can add something unique to the situation, then absolutely add that. But don't be redundant if someone has already answered it. But another thing you want to do here with chats is you want to look through the answers and see if you can answer the questions or respond to people. So let's see, people are already answering answer 7. Let's see if we can find that. There we go. In what ways is EI especially important for leaders? This is a great topic, or great answer. And what we also see here is that we have 2 notifications. That means 2 people have somehow interacted with us. And let's take a look at what's going on with that. So we actually got a couple followers. Looks like 2 new followers, Trish and CJ Miller, have now followed me based on some of the answers. Debbie liked or favorited my response to Sean. So there we go. That's what you can see. You start to see these interactions happen. This is great that it's happening like that. Let's jump into Hootsuite and see how Hootsuite helps you with actually interacting on a chat. All right, now we're over in Hootsuite, and what I've done is set up a stream specifically for chats. And what I've done, and what you want to do, is set up a stream that has the specific hashtag for the chat. And what you'll see there is, like, this one is Lead with Giants, and we have all of the updates that have the hashtag of Lead with Giants. And right in here, what we can do is we can reply, retweet, direct message, do other things, favorite, send a conversation. We can do a lot of things within here. And then another aspect that you want to set up is you want to make sure you have mentions and favorite tweets going on at the same time. So that way, if people are mentioning you or favoriting tweets while you're chatting in here, that you will be able to see that and respond to that. Not necessarily favorite tweets, but it's good to see if people are liking what you have to say. And same thing with the mentions. Mentions are obviously a little bit more important because you would want to respond to somebody. But let's go ahead, and there was a question here about in the chat about, what was it? Let's find there was the question 7. And what you can do is, as you can see, you can jump in here. Question: in what ways is EI especially important for leaders? How is EI the same or different for impulse control? So I would say, just to answer the question 7, in what ways is EI especially important for leaders? So I'm gonna write the response here, and then we're gonna send it out. All right, so here we go. I put the answer in for the answer, and in Hootsuite, I'm going to send now, and it will show up in the chat stream, and then we'll be able to see here if someone mentions me, retweets it, comments on my comment, or favorites it. We'll be able to see that right here. The next tool over here is Twubs. And what we'll be able to see here is that we have the tweets going on. We can go into enable tweet mode. Now we'll be able to see what's going on here. We can pause this in Twubs. This is great. You can pause it. You can come back to it. You can answer. You can see who's talking, and you can see you can jump into it. So there you go. Twitter chats, literally in 15 minutes. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll have other videos up on the website at www.brandonmlewin.com. Chirp, chirp, guys. See ya.